Good evening, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Funfold Friday. I'm so happy that you're able to join me either tonight live on Facebook or on the replay on Facebook, and of course on my YouTube channel. I can't believe it's the 26th of the month. Summer is going by so fast. For those of you who are teachers, you probably know the analogy where we talk about that summer is like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is June, Saturday is July, and Sunday, the day you have to get ready to go back to work, is August. So we are getting close to that August point. So that is definitely on my mind. Well, tonight I'm doing another Christmas in July card using the Golden Greenery stamp set or bundle and the greetings of the season. This is an online, these are online exclusives, and they are part of the Season of Green and Gold suite collection. And this entire suite is just to die for when making Christmas cards. I have had so much fun. I actually have my Christmas in July class tomorrow that my friend Leslie and I are doing, and we're using this suite to make some beautiful cards. So, and that's what I plan to do tonight. So both of these come with dies. So we have the dies to cut out all of the stamped images, and then some extra to cut out boughs and sprigs and all of that. And then we have this great holiday set for holiday wishes, and I love that they have everything, almost everything, in two different scripts. So you can mix and match. You can change your greetings, so you could have Merry Christmas, you can have Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, you have something for the inside of cards, so it's two of those, so it's just a great set, and it also comes with some beautiful label dies. So, and I haven't used all of these yet, but I'm working through them. So let's get started on what we're going to make tonight. Tonight we are going to make an interlocking funfold card. And this is what the card looks like closed. And it's going to open like this. And when it closes, this panel right here slides under this panel. And that's where we get the interlocking. And we're using the beautiful Season of Green and Gold Specialty Designer Series paper. It has a lot of gold that you're going to find in it. And we're also using the Gold Mercury Vellum, which is a Specialty Designer Series paper. And it is just so pretty. So it looks like just regular vellum on the back. And then on the front, it has all of this gold over it. So I just wanted to show you a bigger piece of that because it is pretty incredible. Okay, so let's get started. This is what you need. Remember, you don't have to write this down. I'm going to put it in the comments on Facebook, and it will be in the description on my YouTube channel. So to start with, I am using very vanilla thick cardstock for this. I still have some left. I know it's retired, but I'm going to keep using it until I am all out. I just love this as a weight for when making cards versus the regular very vanilla. So this piece is 10 3/4 inches by 5 1/2. So you just need to cut it 5 1/2 and then cut off 3/4 of an inch. And of course, since it's a funfold, we need to do some scoring. So let me get this out for you. Now, if you folded a lot of cardstock, you'll know that there's a certain way to fold it once you've scored it so that the cardstock doesn't rip a little bit or buckle a little bit. And so I'm going to show you a little trick tonight that you can do when you're scoring your cardstock for this kind of fold. So I'm going to be scoring at 1 5/8 and 3 1/4 on both ends of this cardstock. So I'm going to start with my 1 5/8. That's going to be my first fold. I'm going to flip it over. That's my little trick to do my 3 1/4 inch fold. Whoops, let's get that right. Then I'm going to flip it back, and I'm going to do my 1 5/8 score line, and flip it over and do my 3 1/4. That's going to allow the proper folding. Now, I do not always do this, and I haven't had any major problems, so you can just do it on the same side, but it is just a little tip if you want things to fold nicely without getting any torn cardstock or bubbled up cardstock on this end. Okay, so like with any fun fold, so that's going to fold in, then this one is going to fold out. You want to use your bone folder or something that you can really crease your cardstock. That is the most important part of a fun fold, is getting those creases done. So I'm going to fold this end, and then this one. Give those both really, really nice creases. And then we have the front of the card. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a Z fold on both ends, but you notice that it doesn't close all the way a gatefold would close. Okay, so our folding is done. I'm going to set that aside for a minute, and let's talk about the rest of the stuff we need. I am using this comes with the suite. This is the very vanilla satin ribbon. It's just so pretty, but it does add a lot of bulk, so I just want to warn you about that if you use it to tie a bow. Sometimes I just tie a knot so that it adds a little less, but I really wanted a bow for this card, so just adds to the elegance. So I am using that. Let's start with the Very Vanilla cardstock. You are going to need a piece of Very Vanilla that measures 4 5/8 by 3 3/8, and I cut an extra piece just in case I need it. You only need one. You're also going to need a scrap so you can go into the Spotlight on Nature dies, and I cut a circle out of it. Now, the reason I have an extra piece is that I had an issue with my piece earlier today with my stamps because they're brand new and I didn't clean them enough, so I just wanted an extra piece. Now, when I first did this, because when I actually put my piece on and then stamped, which is just a no-no, I actually die cut this from my original piece. Don't forget, that's just another tip for tonight, that when you're going to be layering something, as we're going to layer here, this piece is going to cover the entire piece with just showing the little outside edge of the Mossy Meadow cardstock. So make sure you take advantage of that and cut any of your pieces out of these bigger layer pieces so that you don't waste cardstock. So that's just my tip for today, but I had to cut another piece because I had already used it mistakenly and couldn't get the thing off, so that's been how my day's been going. Okay, so we've got those pieces that we're going to stamp. And then for our Mossy Meadow cardstock, we're going to need a piece that is 3 3/8 by 2 3/8. We're going to need a piece that is 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. And we're going to need a piece that's 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, all to do our layering. And then, of course, we need a scrap, or we're going to cut from one of these pieces for our other circle die from the Spotlight on Nature. We're going to use 2 designs of Designer Series paper. These are the 2 that I chose. This piece here, I need 4 of them, and they measure 5 3/8 by 1 1/2. This piece here measures 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then I cut a piece of that beautiful gold Mercury Vellum, and that's 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then I needed some old Olive Cardstock to just cut out 2 of the boughs. And I see that I didn't punch out all of the pieces, so take care of that right here. Okay, we're ready to do some stamping. Now, I do want to say, before I go any further, that sometimes you see a card and it is absolutely divine. And this is one of those cases. I did not design this card. I found it online and thought that it was near perfect. And I just went with how the designer made it. And it was designed by Kara Buckaloo. And in the description, I'll make sure I put her link if you want to see her original blog post. Okay, now to do some stamping. So the stamping on the tag is going to be very easy. I'm going to be using Mossy Meadow ink tonight for everything. And this first stamp says, Love and Joy. So I'm just going to make sure it's inked up well, and then stamp that in the center of the tag. And we have our beautifully stamped image. All right. Now for the inside of the card, I am going to, as I said, our greetings are apart. I'm going to start with Christmas and stamp my Christmas first, so I can get it centered where I want it to be, right here. And then I'm going to stamp the Merry above that. And this way I'll have them lined up exactly the way I want them to be. There we go, and that's what it looks like close up. And then finally, I am going to take some one of the sprigs and ink it up in the Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm just going to put a piece of scrap paper here, and I'm going to stamp that in the bottom right hand corner of this piece. Oops, going a little too far, sorry. Okay, that's what that looks like. Okay, now that the stamping's done, the die cutting is done, we can start putting this together. All right. So, the first thing I'm going to do is take my larger piece of Mossy Meadow and my piece of Very Vanilla, and I am going to layer those 2 pieces. So I only cut this 1/8 of an inch larger, so you have to, sometimes it's a little challenging to get that on straight. This time it went on straight perfectly. So I'm going to layer this piece in the middle of the card. My goal when I'm done is that that piece is going to be hidden by the panels on the front. All right, so now we're going to just start layering everything. So I have these 4 pieces that are going to go on the 4 panels. I absolutely love this paper. All of my Christmas cards this year are going to be made with this suite. And I already have a lot of them made. I do not send one design of Christmas cards out. but I tried to use the same stamp sets or bundles. So I will make probably 2 of each card, and that way my family and friends will get similar cards in the sense that they're using the same stamp sets, but they're all going to be a little different. And some will be fun folds. I've already made like 3 or 4 fun folds for Christmas, and some will be just regular, a standard card. My friend Leslie reminded me today of my brother and what he used to do at Christmas when we would get together as a family when we all lived closer. I always made a different card for everyone in my family, and so it folds like this. And my brother would go around and he would count the layers, and he always said that whoever got the most layers, I loved the most. So that's always been my funny stamping story. But that's how he determined my love for the family. So anytime I make him a card, and I think it's going to be next week, I'm going to actually make his birthday card live, and it will have lots of layers, and of course it will be a fun fold. Okay, there we go for that. Now, I am not going to use this seal adhesive with the Vellum. Adhesive does show through Vellum, so I'm going to be very strategic in how I place my adhesive, and I'm going to use the liquid glue. So on the back, I don't know how close you can see this. You can see where there are spots where the vellum shows right through, and then there are the spots where there is the gold. I'm going to put the glue just behind the gold. So I am just going to go around and put little tiny dots where the gold is, so it's not going to show. And I'm going to start by going around the perimeter of the piece and getting some adhesive in those spots. Remember, with liquid glue, you don't need a lot. It's going to hold in place no matter what. So I'm just putting these little tiny dots. And then I'm just going to go back in and put a few more in the center so it will be evenly set. I think that's good. And now we'll put it onto the Mossy Meadow. There we go. Now it's just putting everything together. And I'm going to use the glue for this as well. So, on this card, we are going to want this piece to be adhered to this panel over here on the left. And then this piece is going to be adhered to this panel on the right. So let's start with that part. So it's going to be adhered to this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go out that far. I'm just going to add some of the liquid glue. Okay, now I'm going to, line this up. Make sure it is coming over that other side, and I'm just going to hold this down for a minute. Give it time to adhere. There we go. Now for this one, it's going to be even a thinner or more narrow area to add glue because I don't want it glued to that panel. So I'm only going to do about 1/4 of an inch. And I want to make sure I cover up this piece here on the front of the card. So I'm just going to hold that down for a couple of seconds. All right. So now that piece can slide under that piece. Okay, let's do some decorating. I am going to put this label right in the top corner of this, and I want it on dimensionals. So instead of putting the dimensionals on the label, I am going to put the dimensionals right here in the corner. And take those off. And then I want to position it so it's centered on both on that top piece. Already looking pretty, really pretty. I love this card. I love this set. Okay, the next part is I am going to be decorating with some. Actually, I'm going to use the smaller ones. That's what I used before. So let me just grab, I think 2 small ones are better than 1 small and 1 large. Because the space. I used 2 small earlier. Now I could have used gold. I can show you what gold would look like. I've been cutting, so I have all of these cut pieces. So that's what the gold looks like on top of the gold Mercury. I think it blends in too much, so that's why I'm using the old olive. I want to have all of my pieces, so when I'm making Christmas cards, I don't have to stop and die cut things out. So I'm just going to put a little liquid glue on the back side of this, and I'm just going to slide it under and hold it in place for a minute. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. There we go. And hold it down just to let the glue adhere a little bit. Oh, looking so pretty. Okay, next I'm going to get some glue dots, and I'm going to add that ribbon that I already tied. And we're almost done. That's going to go right under the love and joy on the tag. Ah, so pretty. And then to finish it off, we got to have a little bling. I'm using the adhesive backed sparkle gems. And I'm going to start, this has silver, gold, and black. So I'm going to start with putting a large one right down here. There we go. And then I'm going to take two of the smaller ones and put right up here. And there we have it. This week's fun fold. So much fun. So excuse me. So again, this is called the Interlocking fun fold. And as I said, I made a couple of changes. I added some bling, did the stamping on the inside a little bit differently than Carol did, but I did case this card for you tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it. So I'll be back Sunday night for Simply Stamping Sunday, and of course I'll be back next Friday for another edition of Fun Fold Friday, excuse me. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Sunday night. Good night, everybody.